In this video, we are going to install very important IDE called Tony IDE. Just use any browser and search for Tony IDE. Click on the option coming over here. You will be navigating to tony.org website, or you can directly go to this website. In my case, I am using Windows operating system. Tony IDE is also available for Mac and Linux operating system. For Linux operating system, if suppose you are considering Ubuntu, you can install it from the software center, or suppose you are using Raspberry Pi boards, you can also find Tony IDE over there. In my case, I am going to use Windows operating system. Tony IDE is available for all these operating system. The current version is available 3.3.4 is the current version. Let's start downloading for the Windows operating system. Okay, it's about 16.8 MB. Just save the file. Wait for a few minutes depending upon your internet connectivity speed. Now it has been completely downloaded. I can visit the download folder for the Windows operating system. This is the application right now. Right click and give it as run as an administrator. Just click on this. You have to accept yes on the next pop-up window which is coming. Okay, now this is the setup for the Tony IDE. You can give next. Accept the terms and conditions. After reading this, click on next and make sure that where you are saving. So just copy this. It may helpful later. Or if you don't have enough space in the C drive, you can also save somewhere else. I'm just keeping as default. Click on next. And if you wanted to create a desktop icon, you can click over here, then click on next and you can install it. Just wait until it is completing installation. Now installation is successfully completed. Just click on finish. I can minimize this window. You can find Tony IDE is added into my desktop. Now the IDE is successfully installed. You can see over here. Double click. You can see the IDE is successfully loaded over here. You can go to the options, the interpreter. I have already used Tony IDE, that's why it is showing like this. By default, it is coming with the Python, so you may be able to select Python to run. In our case, we have to use MicroPython for Raspberry Pi PICO. If you have an older version for the Tony IDE already installed in your laptop, I suggest you can go with the generic option is selected. In my case, MicroPython for Raspberry Pi PICO is already there. You can select this. Okay. And auto detect, you can give us like that. Okay. Right now I haven't connected with the Raspberry Pi PICO. That's why you are getting the shell. It isn't able to connect with any devices. We have successfully installed Tony IDE into your laptop. We can use this IDE for the coming lectures to program Raspberry Pi PICO. Thank you. Have already installed Tony IDE. You can double click it to open. Okay, now it has been loaded. You can see under the shell Raspberry Pi PICO with the RP2040 has been loaded. The latest version of MicroPython version 1.14 for the Raspberry Pi PICO you can see over here. You can see the shell with some javerings. We can start with basic code. For the Python syntax, we are using the command called print. Within the brackets, you can give single quotes or double quotes. Here you can type what it wanted to print. I just wanted to print hello world. Here you can press the button enter. You can see hello world is right now printed. Okay, which is happened in the Raspberry Pi PICO. Now it's very important to know the file system of Raspberry Pi PICO. That we will be discussing on the next video. Okay. Welcome back everyone. In this video, we are looking at the file system of Raspberry Pi PICO. Once you are loading Tony IDE, make sure that the shell is loaded with the MicroPython. If it is not loaded, you have to do few settings. Go to your tools, go to options, go to interpreter. Under this option, you have to select MicroPython Raspberry Pi PICO if you are using the latest version of Tony IDE. If you are using the old version of Tony IDE, you can use MicroPython generic. I suggest you can update your Tony IDE the latest version. My case, I am selecting Raspberry Pi PICO option over here, and you can keep like automatic detection. Otherwise, you can directly select this option. I'm keeping it as automatic detection. Click on OK. You can see it will load 1 second. The last video we have tested something called a print hello world. Now we will be discussing about the file system of Raspberry Pi PICO and how it is loading in the Tony ID. If I am considering this Tony ID, you can find under the files, it is showing this computer and something called a Raspberry Pi PICO. This computer means we can access all the folders which is available in the computer, and Raspberry Pi PICO means here we can access the files in the Raspberry Pi PICO. I have already created a folder called UPY PICO in a folder called D. There I have created multiple sessions. On that multiple sessions, actually I am going to save this file temporarily, so I can give these codes back to the users. Now let's see the Raspberry Pi PICO over here. In this particular Raspberry Pi PICO also, we can upload the code. Let's start with the same code, okay? The print hello world. I can use this editor portion over here. In this editor portion, I am directly using print hello world. I can also print some numbers. So if I wanted to get its result, directly I can use those numbers. Now I am expecting it will print hello world as well as the result of 9 plus 3. Okay, this time I haven't used shell directly. I use the editor over here, so I can script entire code. Now I am going to save this. You can see it is named as untitled, so we have to save it. Shortcut for saving, Ctrl+S. If you wanted to run this code, then you can go to this option over here, run current script. First time you are clicking over here, automatically it will ask where you wanted to save. Okay, you can click on this option. Otherwise, you can use F5 key shortcut. So I am clicking over here right now. The first time I am saving this file, so it is asking where I wanted to save this. This time what I am going to do, I am going to save into the Raspberry Pi PICO. So I can select Raspberry Pi PICO. Before that, make sure that you can see there is no files under the Raspberry Pi PICO on the left side. I am selecting Raspberry Pi PICO option here. Now I can give a name. This is just hello world. So I can give, this is a file name, hello world. Make sure that its extension will be .py. After that, you can click on OK. File will be saved on the Raspberry Pi PICO, as well as this particular code will run, and you can find the result in the shell. Okay, I am going to press OK right now. You can see the program has already run, and I got two results in the shell. One is it is printed hello world. Okay, that is this first set of line, and the second set of line, that is to print 9 plus 3. Its result value is 12 over here. Now you can see under the file system Raspberry Pi PICO hello world.py you can see. Then it's very important to know something called a main.py. So main.py, if you create any program in the editor, then if you save with a name called main.py, whenever the Raspberry Pi PICO loads first time, then it will try to find a file called main.py. The advantage is that if you shut down your Raspberry Pi PICO and again you powered it, then automatically it tries to find the file called main.py. If a file called main.py is available, then the code inside main.py will load. If that file is not available, no codes will be executed. It's very important. Now the same one I am going to save as main.py in the Raspberry Pi PICO. I can go to file, save as. This time I am using Raspberry Pi PICO itself. I can also use to save in the computer, not an issue. I can use any of the session 3, session 4 like that. So I can save over there. Now this time I am going to give main.py. I can save like that. Now in the Raspberry Pi PICO, you can see there is a file called main.py.